Hey guys, and welcome to a legendary showdown between two fearsome foes. On the left-hand side, we have the mighty Sergeant Spaghetti, and on the right, Grombrindle. And it is going to be a battle of good versus evil, scaly skin versus demonic creature, as the Lizardmen do face off against the Warriors of Chaos. So let's pop this into slow motion and go through the builds. I'm a big fan of this Lizardman build in general. I think it's pretty versatile. In the front line, we have the sneaky and cheeky chameleon skinks. We have 3 of these bad boys. In fact, they can do some pretty good damage over the course of a battle. They're very big pain in the butt to chase down. They can poison you, run away. They have missile resistance. All around a very sticky and annoying unit to deal with. For the rest of the build, in the front line, we do have Saurus Warriors of Shields dotted all the way along. A nice solid core that will deal with Marauders rather comfortably, with some skink cohorts on the flanks looking to get behind the enemy, get some lovely flank and rear charges. In the back burners, we also have 2 skink cohorts. Looks like these guys are actually chevroned up, or at least one of them is to silver chevron. And triple dinosaur, which of course is a pretty big standard in the Lizardman roster. We have double Bastillodon with solar engine. These guys are looking to blast enemy characters and elite troops from long range. And we have the most powerful, by far, in my opinion, legendary lord for the Lizardmen, and that is Lord Mazdamundi on his big boy Zack. Let's get, or Zack, I should say, not Zack. Let's give him a little bit of a little tickle on his neck there. All round, it's coming in with the Ruination of Cities, Banishment, Shield of the Old Ones, Apotheosis, Net of Amantok, as well as the Sunburst Standard. A big bad boy for sure. And he has such good battlefield presence with his magical abilities and combat prowess. Now for the forces of Chaos, on the left-hand flank we have some Chaos Warhounds with poison. On the right-hand side, 2 Marauder Horsemen with thrown axes, splitting his skirmishers up to try and pressure the enemy from as many different directions as possible. In the front line, it is going to be Chaos Warriors with Halberds dotted all the way along, relatively bad to the bones troops. But the real cool stuff comes in the secondary line. We have some great weapons, which is cool, as well as some Mirror Guard, but here come the Chosen with Halberds, the most rock and roll, crazy badass units in the entire game. You can't get any more heavy metal than this. These guys are going to be coming in with their awesome looking blades, looking to cleave some scaly skins from bone. Should be a good scrap. For the leadership core, leading this force is the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal on the left-hand side with Final Transmutation and Searing Doom, and the mighty, beautiful Prince Sigvald the Magnificent with his Mirror Shield raised high. He's a pretty big pain in the butt for the Lizardmen to deal with in general, incredibly tanky, can even draw some of the larger creatures to a bit of a standstill. It looks like he's going to be pushing forward, going for a Leroy Jenkins approach in front of the rest of his build, and he'd be quite happy to tank the shots from solar engines and chameleon skinks. Of course, he has regeneration, so their damage shall mean little to nothing to him. Looks like the Chaos Marauder Horsemen have managed to whip up and around to the flank here, get into a relatively decent position, or the Chameleon Skinks now should be able to pin them in and lock them away in this corner. However, if they do get charged, these Skinks will get run over, of course. Both the Bastillodons are deciding to pull back just a little bit now, so they can consistently rain fire on the enemy from afar. And let's see what he is targeting. It looks like he's still going after the Prince. One shot does miss and actually hits some Chaos Warriors, and Prince Sigvald has taken a considerable amount of damage for now. I'm expecting him to switch, though, onto that Chaos Sorcerer when he gets into range. Looks like we did miss a unit of Razordons. The spiky doggos themselves are now bounding towards the front line. These guys are very good up against heavily armoured troops, so it'll be interesting to see who they do target. And Mazdamundi straight away just punts Prince Sigvald. Help is coming in the form of Chaos Warriors, but they've been hit by Net of Amantok, and they are getting blitzed down by the Razordons, and a Banishment is coming on top of this. This is going to be some pretty disgusting damage. However, in the main fight, Prince Sigvald not faring too terribly. Heroic Killing Blow has been popped, Standard Die and Slippery, and yeah, he's losing, but not enough that his regeneration isn't going to kick in, and a big upgraded Final Transmutation does come down to be evening up that duel in the centre. Looks like the Chaos Sorcerer is currently the focus attention of the Bastillodon solar engines. Razordons as well continue to pour in fire, but in the distance, the skirmish game is going a bit of a mixed bag for both players. One unit of Horsemen has been forced off at this point, but both the Chameleon Skinks in very dangerous territory. Mirror Guard have been pushed out to this flank to dispatch those sneaky skinks. Bastillodons continue to rain in fire on that Chaos Sorcerer of Metal, doing some nice damage. Razordons are having to fall back from the front line, and in the front line, it's going a bit hit and miss for the Lizardmen and the Chaos Forces here. Source Warriors doing a decent job up against Chaos Warriors because of the long-range assistance coming in, but elsewhere, Source Warriors are being butchered, and big pockets are starting to open up in the main battle line of the Lizardmen formation, and they need to hold as long as possible. Bastillodons need to get that value. Lord Mazda-Midi is going to pop an Apotheosis on himself and then drive towards those halberds, and Prince Sigvald Magnificent once more. Now, never be scared to throw Lord Mazda-Midi into halberds. He's a very tanky lord. You just can't keep him in there too long. It looks like he's been pushed in to tear out some of the enemy. Siren Doom does come down, as well as a lovely little flank by the Chaos Warhounds. Is going to hop on top of the Razordon hunting packs and rip and tear at their throats. Razordons have okay combat stats, but they're not many in number, and therefore will get whittled down rather quickly by Warhounds and other such units. Chameleon Skinks and Saurus Warriors can now protect, however, and that Chaos Sorcerer is just taking an absolute slapping from both Bastiladons, who still have about half ammunition left. Big fat shield of the old ones does go down. More Chaos Warriors are being terrified away. Source Warriors trading okay up against the Chosen Halberds as well. In the distance, one of the Chameleon Skinks was dealt with, and it looks like the second one is about to receive a similar fate here. Mirror Guard have decided to give up the chase, and that's probably a good idea. They're being sorely missed in the front line, where they could really carve through a lot of Saurus Warriors very, very quickly. Chameleon Skinks continue to pull back, as well as the Razordon hunting packs, who have been saved here, which is some really nice play by the Lizardman player. Lord Mazda-Midi is now driving towards the enemy. Skinks throwing darts, poison down the Chaos Warriors and Chosen. Saurus Warriors up to 38 kills though, certainly not doing too shabby up against the elite forces. Razordons are trying to focus in, it seems, on Prince Sigvald. Actually, no, maybe they're going after the Chosen, which is a much better target, because Sigvald with his silver shield and 110 armor is disgustingly hard to snipe. Well, it looks like Lord Mazda-Midi may be trying it. He's coming in to try and save his friend, and the Mirror Guard are driving in to try to protect their Liege Lord. Fun fact of the day, Mirror Guard are actually called the Mirror Guard for their lovely armor, which of course is reflective. And the reason they have that armor is so Prince Sigvald can look at himself while he's fighting, which is absolutely hilarious little bit of lore. Looks like a ruination is going to be going down on the Mirror Guard, and a banishment in the distance. Very risky banishment because it was so close to so many friendly foes, but it did manage to go through the Chosen for the majority of the damage output. That proving Mazda-Midi knows what he's doing. In the back lines, once again, the Chaos Warhounds have dived past the Bastiladon and onto the Razordons, who are also being shot down by Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and I think that could be the end of the Spiky Doggos, although Chameleon Skinks are floating out as well, jumping into combat to try and save them, and the Chaos Warriors being so close to the mighty Bastiladon may actually break and run from the field. However, the Horsemen have returned with their thrown axes, having dealt with the Chameleons in the back line. Big Ruination goes down, catching a ton of Chaos Warriors, and Lord Mazda-Midi up to 63 kills. The Tail of Justice bringing judgment to the Chaos forces so far, and a ton of them are terrified and forced off. Chosen, though, they're made of sterner stuff, and despite the fact there's only 22 of them left, they're going to be carving their way through the Skink cohort with absolute joy. Mirror Guard doing a good job in the backline as well, and it's a very close game. The Chaos have kind of penetrated onto some of the key targets like the Bastiladons, and it looks like this one is going to get hit by Siren Doom and some Royal Horsemen throwing axe fire, although Chameleon Skinks are here to protect as well. In the main infantry blob that is kind of left over on this far side, Source Warriors and Skink cohorts certainly going to be getting dispatched with deadly efficiency by the Chosen Halberds, up to 84 kills, but it is not the prime targets for them. They really want to be hopping on top of some of these larger threats to help deal with them. If the Mirror Guard and Chosen could switch places, I'm sure they would. Skinks on the right hand side are about to buckle. We do have some more Saurus Warriors returning to the fray. I have a nice overarching view of the battlefield. It's pretty stretched out. Chaos doing a really good job of forcing off troops like the Razordons, making sure the Lizardmen don't have anything to come back to. But Lord Mazda-Midi and both the Bastiladons are still relatively healthy for the late game. This one taking the main brunt of the damage. And there is still a pesky unit of Chameleon Skinks. Very well timed now of Amantok has gone down. That's going to allow the Chameleon Skinks to continuously pepper these guys in. And the Bastiladon very slumberously turning around, getting ready to line up a big beam shot, but straight away fires in and manages to just pulverize a couple of poor Chosen. One gets back up, but this poor guy got severed in half. Lord Mazda-Midi punts Prince Sigvald flying, which is good news for Mazda-Midi because that means Slippery and Heroic Killing Blow will be wearing off while he's down in the dumps, not doing too much. And as I said before, Mazda-Midi will certainly beat Prince Sigvald, but not coming in with the greatest melee attack. Only 26 up against Prince Sigvald's really impressive 60 melee defense. Does mean it will take a long time for Mazda-Midi to land those hits, but when they do land, boy, do they hit. Instead, it looks like he's going to be taking his time and using his very good charge bonus to float over out to the side and do some damage to these Chaos Warriors, terrifying them and shattering them for good. We have some Skinks who have seen the Chaos Warriors starting to break and have rallied to the field and going to be used to chase off these other troops, which is some good micromanagement all round by the Lizardman player. But still, with Solar Engine completely surrounded by the Mirror Guard for now, but looks like Lord Mazda-Midi going to be using his extra pace to escape the Prince and come in and try to save other pockets of strength for the Lizardmen forces, which I absolutely love to see. Mazda-Midi should be a continuously moving wrecking ball going around the battlefield. That's how I think he tends to be best. We have skin cohorts once again returning. Some of them do have silver chevrons, but they're going to be going up against Chosen, which is a pretty rough fight. Horsemen, though, with front axes have been forced off, which is key because they can do so much damage to something like a Bastiladon over the course of a battle. However, the Chosen equally up to the task as well. So it seems like Mazdamundi once again going to be floating over here trying to save his smaller dinosaur brethren like he did on the right-hand side. Although this Bastiladon is isolated and those thrown axes have returned to the fray. Although they're out of ammunition at this point. 118 kills. Very good day for them. They've been reaving through the back lines. Chameleon Skinks are hidden at the moment. Once again, going to pop up. Be a nice little cheeky surprise for the Chaos Forces. You want to pour all of those shots into the Chosen. Standard Die is currently popped on them, but a Shield of the Old Ones comes in to counteract that and keep the Lizardmen fighting strong. Elsewhere, we do have some Chaos Warriors who may return, but they're so beleaguered and beat up at this point, I don't think there's much hope. Likewise, these Saurus Warriors probably aren't going to be doing too much. So it's basically what you see is what you get. The Horsemen have now charged in, attempting to break the Bastiladon on this right-hand side. Unfortunately, Mazdamundi can only be in so many places in one go, and it's a very close, down to just 10 leadership and wavering, but the Marauder Horsemen don't seem to be doing too long, and Bastiladon does beam a shot across, breaking those Horsemen, although the Bastiladon is equally broken as well. Maybe we'll be able to come back. It depends if anything can be used by the Chaos player to chase it off. Mazdamundi doing some beautiful cycle charging into the Chosen Halberds and just smites them. It looks like he's kind of popping shots onto Zlak's head, maybe empowering him with the power of the Old Ones to deal that true damage. Chosen Halberds are actually wavering at this point. They're not feeling too confident whatsoever. Mazdamundi does have 3.5k health, although he did just take a big chunk out of him by Prince Sigvald, but Apotheosis is going to come down, healing him up once more, and in comes a Bastiladon, cold-blooded pop to give it a nice little confidence boost. Charging in, trying to finish off the Chosen, down to just 15 models, and still somehow holding the line. Let's get a nice little close-up on these bad boys as they actually turn and flee. Prince Sigvald getting smashed to the floor once more. This Chosen is absolutely pumping those legs in a desperate attempt to escape. The Prince, though, standing firm for now and getting some really nice hits on Lord Mazdamundi. In the distance here, the Bastiladon has managed to rally and is going to be firing some shots into the Chaos Warriors with Halberds, trying to force them off before they do manage to catch up. Now these guys are getting hit by loads of nastiness as well. They'll be getting blinded if he does manage to unleash another shot. And of course, these little skinks on the side are going to be doing some glorious damage. Chameleons have been forced off. Looks like the other Bastiladon once again has been pushed back. This is kind of a big bonus at the moment for the Lizardmen forces, is that by being pushed off, there's nothing to chase them, and they can simply turn around and shoot once more, although it looks like Mazdamundi not too happy with this Bastiladon, as they get shot in the face by him. Chaos Warriors getting slammed by Mazdamundi on the charge. Mirrorguard have once again regained their composure and come back to save their lord. I'm sure they certainly would have lived it down if they had he had survived and he had found them once more. Prince Sigvald is now at his healing cap. He's certainly done some fantastic work so far, dueling at the big dinosaurs and being a real good powerhouse in the centre of the Chaos Forces. Looks like an Apotheosis is going to go down on that Bastiladon, who's going to be firing one last shot before engaging in hand-to-hand combat. Heroic Killing Blow and Standard Die have been popped, as well as Shield of the Old Ones, but it looks like for the most part, the Warriors of Chaos do flee, leaving the Prince to fight alone. Mirrorguard are one of the only few units left not shattered, and there is 3 large single entities coming up against the Prince, but he is incredibly tanky, and this is how most games go, Prince Sigvald. You start the battle, your entire army dies, Prince Sigvald survives and grinds out the game, and it's can you bring him down? Looks like he's getting a bucket ton of javelins thrown at him. These skinks on the flanks are rather angry. Mazdamundi falling back to do some cycle charge and perhaps finish off the rally in a mirror guard, which is some good play. And he's popping an Apotheosis once more on the Bastiladon. I wonder how many Apotheosises he has popped today. He's done an absolute bucket ton of them. That's where the majority of his Winds of Magic have gone. I suppose he only really has that in the net, though. 2 relatively cheap spells. And now, unfortunately for Prince Sigvald, being surrounded by 3 dinosaurs isn't a good time for anyone. Or at least not for a Lizardman lover. Bastiladon has been forced off at this point, routing and exhausted, but there's two giant beasties fighting, and at this point balance power is very heavily in the Lizardman favour, and I think Lord Mazdamundi could most likely solo this, although he's not leaving anything to chance here. Going to be pulling back and ready to cycle charge in once more. Down to 2,000 health though. He's taking some big chunky damage when the Prince hits him from behind. Bastiladon on this left-hand flank has managed to shatter the mirror guard for good. Although Prince Sigvald is looking for a little bit of revenge. And for his trouble, he's going to get a big old horn up the bum by Zlak and Lord Mazdamundi. Prince Sigvald is wavering, and I think with that, the forces of Chaos are going to break. And a glorious Pyrrhic victory for the sons and daughters of the old ones. Very well played to Sergeant Spaghetti and Grombrindle. Always love to have these guys on the channel because they have such close competitive games. And awesome always to see my favourite Dynamite boys use with some interesting units. I like the inclusion of the Razordons here. It was a really nice, well-balanced build, going very wide but still having the heavy hitters in the form of Mazdamundi and both of the other dinosaurs. As for Grombrindle's build, pretty cool stuff, and you can never hate a man who brings chosen halberds. They are so heavy metal. Them and the great weapons are always a fan favourite of mine. Now we'll go through the damage value and damage dealt in just a second. I'm assuming it's going to be absolutely insane on Mazdamundi and Sigfold, but I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer action. We drop new videos every single day, as well as a couple of streams during the week. If you do want to send in replays like these guys and get them featured on the channel, or get involved in events I host, keep up with channel updates and hang out with a load of cool guys, feel free to join my Discord. There's a link down below in the description, as well as a link to my Patreon and other ways you can support. But awesome stuff. So let's start with the Lizardmen, because I'm very excited to check out what Mazdamundi got. 115 kills. Oh my god, 4k damage value, 4,134, dueling the Prince for long durations, but more importantly, bouncing between engagements, saving Lizardmen forces where he could, and also helping to break and shatter the Warriors of Chaos, getting real, destroying the backbone of their army. 22,000 damage dealt is certainly very impressive as well. Now, the Skinks just make the line a little bit wider, allow you to protect the Razordons on the Bastiladons, so they're not really here to get much damage value, but simply hold the line, hold the enemy back, and also chase off routing units, and they certainly did that job rather well. Saurus Warriors across, for the most part, got some pretty solid damage value, 550 here, 822, 849, and 642. Holding back the elite tide of warriors before them. Now, as for the Chameleon Skinks, it was really a mixed bag. Two of them got chased down pretty quickly, but still managed to get some pretty decent value. 662 damage value on this left one, 670 and 289. One of them managed to survive in that central pocket for a decent amount of time, poisoning down some of the more elite troops. Now, for the spiky doggos, they did struggle to shoot now and again. Their firing luck can be a little bit strange, but still, despite that, 926 damage value certainly isn't too shabby. Also, 6,592 damage dealt. It's always good to see those big numbers. As for both the Bastiladons, they managed to use up pretty much all of their ammunition, 1,699 damage value on one of them, and on the other one, 80 kills and 1,768. Good targeting, getting that wizard off the field. He's a relatively large target on horseback, so they can certainly pound him down from long range and be relatively accurate, and getting him away from the battlefield certainly helped out in that late game. Imagine if there was another Final Transmutation or Searing Dooms coming in, it certainly could have gone the other way. As for Grombrindle, awesome to see him playing Chaos. I don't normally see him play them, tends to be more of a Dowie main, hence the name, but still, really good stuff, and Prince Sigfold certainly is the bane to many a Lizardmen player, and nearly got the same damage value as Mazdamundi, who's a far more expensive lord. 4,128. Oh my god, 4,134, you're just shy. 72 kills, 15,000 damage dealt. Of course, he doesn't have any banishments or ruinations or any of that kind of stuff to really help support him out. So amazing display by the Prince. He's certainly very good in the current game meta. Apart from that, the Chaos Warriors of Halberds, solid work across the board it would seem. 942 damage value here. 508, 124, all those guys got really slaughtered. They're probably the unit that got pinned in early on by that net and is punished by the Razordons and banishments. And across the board, the Warriors not faring too bad, but not faring too amazing either. Likewise, the Mirror Guard, they were kind of trekking out on that right-hand side, trying to force away the Chameleon Skinks, which is a good use of their time, because they are obviously relatively well protected from the blow darts, but at the same time, they could have been used more in the centre of the field to really carve their way through the Saurus, but it's a tough decision to make for sure. Double Chosen with Halberds did a pretty good display as well. 112 kills, 1.3k damage value. The other one faring a bit worse with 684. And the Horsemen, likewise, was a real mixed bag. One of them really underperforming. The other one getting a whopping 118 kills, 1,320 damage value. Glorious stuff. Despite the fact the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, well not Sorcerer Lord, the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal was focused down predominantly very early on by just the Bastiladons consistently firing into him, he still performed really well with 14 kills, 611 damage value. Tasty work there. Good play as well by those Chaos Warhounds, putting pressure on the Razordons every opportunity. 666 damage value, certainly making the Chaos Gods very proud with that one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.